Kind of just tell me your overall takeaways from the series in California. What was the biggest thing you took away from that?
Some great competition. It was great for us to play in some really tight games. I think the Oregon State and the Oregon game both unbelievable outings. I think both offensively and defensively. But I think the biggest thing is we haven't been in that situation yet, in that tight of a game with those consequences and the pressure and the feeling and understanding that every pitch matters. So we took a lot of experience out of that to be able to carry that forward.
What was your biggest message maybe to your pitching staff there, obviously, after that Oregon game specifically, and, obviously overcoming errors as well, too? What's the biggest message?
Yeah, defense kind of let us down a little bit. Jordan, I thought, threw an unbelievable game, gave us an opportunity to be able to win. But I think the fight that we showed at the end, that's huge. When you're down runs, the only thing that you want to be able to try to do is get a tying run at the plate, and we did that. We got the tying run on base. We got the winning run at the plate, and that just shows a lot of fight and a lot of character that we have within this team, and that's what they have to carry forward.
What did you like about how they bounced back in that Long Beach State win, right after Oregon and everything that happened there right after?
Playing 5 different opponents in such a short period of time is really, really tough. It's so hard to be able to turn around emotionally and physically, and sometimes when you have to change dugouts and change fields, and there's a lot more that's going into it rather than just playing ball. Being able to sit around for 2 hours waiting for the game before to be able to finish up. So coming off of an emotional loss and being able to rebound in 20 minutes to play another opponent, it's tough to do, but they fought and they competed and they really set the tone from the very beginning.
What have you liked that you've seen from Riley Frizzell? I feel like we've been hearing her name more and more so far.
She's a spark. She has tons of energy. She's very, very enthusiastic. She always was in the dugout. She carries that same energy on the field. And we need her offensive power. We need her to be consistent throughout the lineup. But, she really is the rally behind the team. She has such a great pulse and knows what she needs to tell everybody in the dugout to get everybody going.
Your number 2 and 3 batters in the lineup, Crenshaw and Honnold, are pretty impressive. They play off each other really well. Can you talk a little about that?
I think 1, 2, and 3. I would throw Jen and Laird in that mix as the leadoff batter, but Honnold and Crenshaw have been tremendous. They haven't been in these roles before. Honnold was, middle to the bottom part of the lineup last year, and now having her in the 2 spot, she is just so unbelievably clutch. She is such a tough out. She got intentionally walked this past weekend, and that just shows the respect that everybody has throwing to her. And then Crenshaw, she has been just a pleasant surprise, and the power that she's providing, the consistency. She's dropping some bunts and beating them out, but every single outing that Crenshaw has, she's getting better every single day. Yeah, absolutely. It's deflating to give up a home run anyways, and then to have to do it back-to-back is just real exciting for the team. But, the whole entire way through the lineup, everybody through the lineup has the ability to be able to hit a home run, and we're pretty tough to pitch to at times.
Yeah, that's impressive. Talk about what we're looking forward to this weekend. Another state, a bunch of different components, and another ranked opponent as well.
First, I'm looking forward to a bus trip rather than a flight. So we have a little bit more control over travel in that aspect. So it'll be a little bit more comfortable. It'll be good for us to experience a bus trip and get that underneath our belt so we can develop a road game routine from that aspect. But again, 3 different opponents, going to be really, really competitive. It helps our coaching staff that we don't have to scout 5 different opponents, so we can kind of zero in a little bit more. But it's going to be great competition. Oklahoma State is a tremendous team. Tulsa is very, very strong. We have not played Maine since I've been here at Mizzou. So it'll be real interesting, but it's really great to get 5 games underneath our belt in a little bit different atmosphere.
What's it like traveling with the team so many times, back-to-back weekends, and then over the weeks as well? What's it like? Just tell us stories, anything fun you can tell us about.
The bus trips are great. We brought some donors on this past trip to California, and it's exciting to hear their experience being on the bus and the pregame with the music going. And I want the bus to be their locker room, because when we're on the road, we don't really have a home locker room. So it can be a lot of fun. The music playing, the dancing, the pictures that they have taking, and that's really where they develop their chemistry and what the pulse of the team is going to be, and carrying that onto the field.
You touched on it a little bit, but what's the advantage of being on the road this much before you hit the comforts of your own locker room, your own stadium? What do you feel like the advantage is for this team in that?
It's developing that away from home routine because we know the SEC tournament's on the road. We have to play 4 different SEC opponents on the road. And when you develop that comfort and security of being on the road and the routine and the meals in the hotel and sleeping in a different bed, you're comfortable when you're put in that situation down the stretch of the season. And that's really why we design it the way we do. We like playing those first 2 weeks on the road, so we're away for 10 days, which is what it's like postseason. You know, SEC tournament, sometimes into regionals, into super regionals. Hopefully we're hosting, but that's the grind that you have to do every single day. So everything that's been done in the beginning part of the season is going to relate to what we do in the postseason.
What stands out to you about this Oklahoma State group?
They're tough. I mean, obviously we have some familiarity with Jeff Cottrell as our hitting coach, and he's previously on their staff, but they do have an entire new team. There's not a lot of returners. They have a dynamic arm on the mound with Maxwell. I think that's going to be the key is we have to anticipate that we're going to see her. She has World Series experience. She's really, really tough. She's a 5th-year senior and really strong and coming in from the left side. So we're going to have to be able to be ready to hit every single pitch. And we have to expect that at one time throughout the course of the game and throughout the course of at bat, she might make a mistake, and we have to be ready for it. And if we're not, we might have missed our one chance to be able to hit the ball hard.
Honnold obviously got that honor last week. You know, you said the team really rallies around her. How excited were they for her? Did she take it? I'm guessing she took it probably pretty humbly.
Oh, very, very humbly. I mean, I don't even know if she cracked a smile, but we try to get her all fired up. And, you know, of course, I egg it on a little bit more in practice, and I'll bring the team in and pretend that I'm yelling at them, and then I'll just be like, congratulations, Honnold. And the team really just relishes those moments because to get her excited and know how humble that she is as a player, but she deserves it. She absolutely does. And, you know, even looking at the performances that she had last year, I don't think that she got the recognition that she deserved. And everything, she's earned everything that she's doing right now.
Do you feel like this is a year where those faces, you know, Frizzell, Honnold, all those people who kind of been a little bit more, as you said, in the background a little bit with all that senior class, do you feel like this is the year for them to, you know, make their own name, I guess? I
mean, it absolutely is. I mean, they're not in anyone else's shadow. They're defining their own legacy, what they want to leave, and what they're doing every single day. And, you know, they're going to get a lot of notoriety because we're a really strong team, and they deserve it.
What are some other players you've been pleasantly surprised by, whether that be in the lineup or on defense?
You know, Crenshaw's at the top. I mean, you mentioned her earlier, but with someone who came in and was a role player last year and is playing a new position, you're going to see her behind the plate moving forward too a little bit. That's really tough to do at this level, and she's completely embraced the opportunities that she's had. I think Maddie Gallagher is another one, but I have to mention Maddie Snyder. We were down 2 outfielders this past couple weekends with some injuries, and Maddie Snyder stepped into that role in left field and has been tremendous in the 9-hole. You know, you really need a strong 9-hole hitter to turn that lineup around to the top of the lineup with Laird and Honnold and Crenshaw. And Snyder's done an unbelievable job, and someone who didn't get any opportunities last year. She's really come through for us.
I'm going to detour a little bit. I'm working on a story about pre-pitch movement.
Okay.
Infielder hop. Can you tell me about that and if
Yeah.
you teach it or not?
Oh, we absolutely teach it, and it comes from tennis. So if you were to watch tennis, and when they're receiving a serve, they have a little pre-pitch movement, and then both feet hit the ground at contact, and that's what we teach our players as well. But on the field, you have 8 position players that are popping their feet, 7 because you're eliminating the pitcher. And you want both feet to hit the ground at exactly the same time when contact's going to be made. So if it's a right-handed batter, third base should be popping their feet first because the contact at third base is going to be a little bit more out in front. First base and right field would be last. So when you're watching a team, and if they're really paying attention to the contact zone, it's almost like a wave is going through the entire defense because they're all watching contact at a little different point. Laws of physics, object in motion stays in motion, object at rest stays at rest. So they need to have that pre-pitch motion to be able to react to when the ball's hit at them because it could come at them at 85 miles an hour.
How do you teach it?
We start off with hitting a ball off of the tee. We watch video. We'll have coaches that will be behind them defensively to try to teach them on where the contact point is. But on the tee, you don't have the ball moving. So that way they can feel the rhythm and the timing and what they need to do before the bat hits the ball.
And I know each infielder kind of does it a little differently. I know Riley, I talked to her, she just lifts her heels up a little bit, whereas
Right.
like Jenna Laird might hop more. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Personal preference. The biggest thing is that both feet are coming down at the ground at exactly the same time. You don't want it to be right-left or left-right. Corners might be a little bit different than middles, which are going to be a little bit higher than outfielders. But it's just feeling that rhythm and that timing that as soon as the ball hits, that they're reacting. A great drill that I'll do in the beginning part of the season is I'll just take a ball and I'll raise it up off the air, and when the ball drops and it hits the ground, that's when their feet should be hitting the ground. So as soon as it hits the ground and then it deflects off in a certain direction, that should be their movement to the ball. So when you see a fielder that when they pop and it's a foul ball, they should have that quick movement reaction in the area that the ball's going. If they're doing that, then they know they're on time. If I feel that a fielder is not getting to a ball that they should be getting to, it probably has to do with their timing of their pop. Either they're airborne or they came down too early and then they're stagnant and they don't have any momentum to go to that pitch.
Thanks for letting me detour.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Going back to, obviously you mentioned Maddie Snyder there. These Missouri kids, I mean, look at Kara, Julia, and Maddie. How just beneficial has Missouri itself spending your time here?
It's one, I want to keep all those kids home. That's my number one goal. I want the best in the state to have their dream of playing at the University of Missouri and being a Mizzou Tiger, and that's what we're trying to do is keep those kids home. They're hometown kids. The fans know who they are. They follow their careers all through high school, and then they come here, and the ownership that they have wearing Mizzou across their chest is very different than the kids that are from outside the state. They have so much more pride in who they are and what they're doing. So when I see Maddie Snyder and Kara Daly and Julia Crenshaw, and the first game that we stepped on the field this year, Crenshaw said to me, "This is a dream come true." And that kind of sums it up, the experiences that they have playing on the field and wearing Mizzou across their chest.
Do you have anything else to add about what we're looking forward to this weekend?
It's going to be fun. I mean, hopefully it's warm. That's my goal, is I'd like to be a little bit warmer than it is today and a little bit warmer than it was in California. But it's going to be exciting. We're really preparing right now for the SECs. Like, this is our last tournament before we open up SEC play. So we're not looking ahead to Kentucky. We're really focusing on, let's solidify our lineup. Let's really solidify some position players on what our identity is going to be on as a team and what we need to do moving forward to go into conference play.
Thank you.
You got it.
Appreciate your time.